It is overtime here again at Old Favorite Friday and at Barrel of Monks Brewing. I am with Ralph Renault, one of our brewers here, and we are continuing the conversation about Shiner Bock. This is another one of those beers that's been suggested many times. We've been doing Old Favorite Friday for over a year now, and we get suggestions in all the time. A lot of times we want to kind of put in our favorite beers or beers that are seasonal, things that we've thought about, and we keep a list of all the beers that get recommended over and over again and try to do the ones that have been recommended the most. And I want to say 4 or 5 times people have mentioned Shiner Bock, and I'm happy we finally got to the beer after all this time. This is they call it American style Bock. I believe on the bottle it says that this was first brewed in 1913.
Oh, there you go.
So this is one of the older beers produced in the United States. This is like an amber / brown colored beer, really clean. A Bock is a lager, so it's a clean malty lager. Ralph, what's your first impressions of this beer?
Yeah, it's a really nice beer. It's definitely fits into the Bock category, but you get your American profile is it's a very neutral, clean lager, but you have that crackery malt with just almost just a hint of dark fruit. And it's what I really like about this beer is this is one of those almost like introductory beers where you're like usually gone through all your macro, like your dad's stuff or whatever, and you're like, I want something a little different, but you're still just getting into beer. And this is such a good beer coming back to it, and even just like if you want to get into beer, it's a really approachable beer for a Bock style.
Well, we use the term gateway beer very often as like kind of the first flavorful, interesting beer that you've had, and this, I'm sure, for a lot of people is that. Let me actually make this look a little bit more pretty on camera. Yes, this is because this is flavorful. It has a nice little hint of sweet malt character. It's probably not as sweet as a lot of the Bocks that I'm familiar with, the classic Bocks from Germany, but it does approach a little bit of that sweet malt. There's some caramel, there's some chocolate, there's some other things going on there, but really clean and drinkable and approachable. So we're using those kind of terms as far as bringing people into the fold for craft beer. A lot of people would look at this beer, and even though it's not black in color, they would use that classic term, well, I don't like dark beers because dark beers are too heavy. Well, this is not a heavy beer. This has the right proportion of malt, and it has more body than a Bud Light, but it's not heavy and big and rich. It is light, it is clean, it is drinkable, and it packs a little bit of a punch for what you're getting. And this is another one of those great beers where when you are in kind of a beer wasteland where craft is not prevalent, or before craft was really getting popular, this is the kind of beer when you went to a bar and you go, oh, at least they have Shiner Bock. I'm good. So I know what I'm going to order. I don't have to worry about sipping some macro swill. I got a pretty good beer to drink.
Yeah, and I was going to say something you kind of hinted on almost, but I'll say my way. This to me is a great summer beer because you wouldn't think, because like you said, you see the dark color, but I could totally see having bringing a 6-pack or whatever to a barbecue, because the body is light enough, because as we say, it's well attenuated, that you get that character you would want in a Bock, but you could easily, if it's hot out, I could see grabbing for one of these.
For sure, and it really is a good, a barbecue. You can think a lot of grilled meats and things like that nature, that they weren't too rich and too heavy. It would go really well together. There's a lot going on here. It's a really good beer. It is a beer that I have not had in quite a while, honestly, because there's so many options out there. But just like so many of the beers, because they're suggested for Old Favorite Friday, we try them again. We dive in and go, wow, I can't believe that this beer is this good. It's been around for this long, and I haven't had one in so long. So we highly recommend, if you're not drinking a Shiner Bock this weekend and you're into these kind of styles of beer, please go and check it out. It is widely available. That's one of the great things about it. When you find a beer that is quality, it is consistent, and it packs the punch that you expect it to, and you can also find it in your local grocery store, that's always a great thing to have in your back pocket. So highly suggest go pick those up. Please also go click around on our YouTube channel, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out some other conversations that we have about other great beers here on Old Favorite Friday. Cheers.
Cheers.